So we're a Catholic system of schools. We have 38 schools in total, stretching from the Macarthur in the north, throughout the Southern Highlands, the whole of the Illawarra, and down to Milton in the south. When we started the development process for our next strategic plan, we had about 2 years left on the current plan. When we started that process, we knew that we wanted to avoid the trap of having just a couple of people in isolation, locked in a room somewhere to develop a plan that would then be broadcast out to the masses with little to no engagement prior. And so for us, it was really important to be on the front lines. That's where our mission lives or dies, and to hear the voices of the people who are engaged in delivering that, who are being served, our students, our teachers, our school families, our broader partners, and to really hear from them, hear the realities of the situation, the needs that they had, and how the things that are going on in our world are actually affecting them day to day, and what we can do about it. So I think the leadership team were up for the challenge, but I think the problem that we had, or the issue that we were trying to overcome, was how do we actually do it? The difficulties in engaging such a broad and large number of people, particularly during all of the challenges that were being presented to us by COVID. We hadn't done it on that scale before. We certainly hadn't done it in the middle of a pandemic. And so the support that we needed as an organisation at that point in time was someone who had the expertise, had the experience, understood the art and science of listening and engaging people. And that was what was ultimately the reason that we decided to work with Fire Up Solutions. We were pleasantly surprised by the level of response when we put that call out to people to be part of that, particularly from our school staff, and particularly from our school leaders, our principals and assistant principals. So what that told us was there was a real appetite for this kind of work, to be involved in having their voices heard, but also to help us to hear the voices of all of our people. The why, how, what session that we had with our leadership team right at the start of the process, I think, was critical. So that was it was an excellent opportunity, I think, to bring that leadership team together, to involve everyone in really designing the solution, the process that we were going to follow, and to make sure that we were all clear and agreed on the same page about those core principles that would underpin our approach. It was a chance for the leadership team to come together, to engage in sort of practical, creative activities. And ultimately, what it did was it helped us to walk away with a clear set of principles about how we were going to do this work, a clear idea of what those key milestones were, and a clear idea of who would be doing what, and how we would make sure that our teams, both within the education office as well as out in the schools, were aware of what we were doing and had the opportunity to be involved. When we put the call out for people across our system of schools to be involved in the process as listening leaders, we ended up with about 30 people who'd signed up for that from all across our system. We had a diverse range of people from within the Catholic Education Office, and they all brought different strengths to that process. Some had more experience in this kind of activity, some had more confidence than others, but the general consensus after the several sessions that we had with Fire Up to prepare us for those listening sessions was that there was great value in learning some of those basic techniques about how to listen well, how to listen with empathy. And when we're looking at the kind of topics we were about, the needs of students, the needs of school families, a really important consideration for us was how do we make sure we do this with their well-being and their welfare front and centre. We engaged with nearly 3,000 people through surveys and hundreds of people through our listening sessions. And the challenge for us was to take all of that rich information and translate that into some really clear areas of focus for our organisation. The intent workshop was a critical part of the process because it brought together not only all of those people who'd been directly involved in the listening sessions, who were hearing the voices of our people firsthand, but also our top leadership team and some of our leaders from throughout our school system as well, so that we were able to discuss what we'd heard, to reconcile that with other data sources that we had, and to have some really good discussions and discernment around what does this mean for us? How do we make sure that we're being good stewards of the resources that we have available to us, and make sure that what we landed on was clear, it reflected the needs that we heard from our school communities, and it would inspire us to work towards the same vision, the same aspirations, and make sure that we could actually deliver on what we set out to achieve to support the needs of our school communities.